So, what hardware wallet should you use when you're getting your Bitcoin off of an exchange, which you should definitely consider doing just in case some craziness happens with the exchange and you lose access to your Bitcoin. Before you pull it off the exchange, make preparations for taxes because if you end up having to sell it later on, knowing your cost basis, or at least knowing your transactions and having them stored in a simple place is going to be a lifesaver. So, make tax preparations and make sure you have your transactions saved and then pull your coin off of the exchange and put it on a hardware wallet if you want to protect from that exchange going down. And so to do that, you need a hardware wallet. So I asked ChatGPT what are the best things to know about hardware wallets and what are the best components that make up a good hardware wallet. So let's take a look at what ChatGPT said to me here.
Prerequisites for a good Bitcoin hardware wallet. 1. Secure element chip. A tamper-resistant chip to securely store private keys and resist physical attacks. 2. Open source firmware. Transparent code for community auditing and verification of security practices. 3. PIN protection. Mandatory PIN code to prevent unauthorized access to the device. 4. Seed phrase backup. Provides a BIP39 compatible seed phrase for wallet recovery in case of loss or damage. 5. Passphrase support. Optional passphrase feature for an additional layer of security, also called 25th word. 6. Transaction verification screen. On-device screen to verify and approve transaction details before signing. 7. Multi-currency support. Capability to manage not only Bitcoin, but also other cryptocurrencies if needed. 8. Compatibility with wallet software. Works seamlessly with popular wallet interfaces, e.g. Electrum, Sparrow, Ledger Live. 9. Regular firmware updates. Ongoing support with updates to address security vulnerabilities and improve features. 10. Strong manufacturer reputation. Proven track record of security, transparency, and community trust.
So that's a good list, a really good list. Secure element, that's important because it offers all of these benefits. So tamper resistance, isolates the keys, a lot of different security measures. So you can read through this here as well and investigate that further. Not all hardware wallets have this, but this is an important component. And if you're looking at one that doesn't have it, make sure that you understand why it doesn't have it and the trade-offs that it's making. So we go back to the list. Open source is important so that you can look for vulnerabilities in that. PIN protection, that's good if somebody steals the device. I think any device is going to have that standard. Seed phrase backup is important so you can recover the wallet. Not all hardware wallets offer this because of different trade-off models. I'll get more into that in a second. Passphrase support, if you wanted to add a passphrase, that would give you an additional component of security with the trade-off that it's one more data point that you have to store. Transaction verification screen is important so that when you actually go to send Bitcoin from your wallet, you can make sure that it's not been compromised and it isn't sending to a different address than you think it is. And so that's an actual screen on the device itself. Multi-currency support I don't think is important because I honestly don't think you should be using anything aside from Bitcoin. Everything else is basically a scam. Number 8, compatibility with wallet software. This is important if you're going to use a lot of different types of software with the device. So a lot of devices will support various software, the software that the manufacturer makes, but then also third parties software as well. So if you're like a power user, you might want to look into that. Regular firmware updates and then a good reputation. Obviously, these are important. So I asked it what's the best wallets to use based on these criteria, and in my opinion, it gave me a bunch of crap. I probably wouldn't use any of these personally, except for maybe one or two. So Ledger has a really bad reputation. There's a lot of issues with Ledger and their Ledger Live software and the fact that they support hundreds of coins. Same with Trezor. Coldcard's good. You could do Coldcard. That's fine, I think. I think Bitbox is pretty good. I'm not super familiar with Bitbox. That might be something to look into along with the Coldcard. Keystone Pro, Kobo Vault. I think there might be issues with this as well, but of this generated list, the two that you might look at would be maybe Bitbox. Definitely you could do a Coldcard. I might stay away from these other ones. But personally, the ones that I would look at first would be the stuff from CoinKite is good. They have probably the best reputation in the space. They have secure elements. They have advanced features, multi-sig support, a lot of different neat stuff. They even give you instructions, like if you needed to destroy the device, they give you instructions on where to like shoot. So I mean, if you're looking for like a device with a secure element that can be offline and has a good reputation, these are going to be your best bet. I also like the Jade. This is another good wallet from Blockstream that has a really good reputation. It's cheaper than the cold cards. It ticks off all of those boxes ChatGPT had talked about, except that it doesn't have a secure element. But they have a way around that that is supposedly as secure. So it's using a trustless verification signer online that works with your device to decrypt and unlock your device. And it's supposed to be as effective as a secure element, but do your own research on that if you're interested. The other one that has been interesting me more and more recently is the BitKey. This ticks some of the boxes the ChatGPT gave us, but not all of them. The most glaring is that it uses your fingerprint instead of giving you an actual screen to verify addresses, which is kind of a bummer because you can't verify the address visually and make sure you're sending to the right address with the device. The biometric access is so-so, but this is good if you're not very tech savvy. This might be something to look at. It also has a really interesting inheritance feature where you can designate someone to inherit your Bitcoin automatically, which I think is really genius. This is probably a lower level of security than the CoinKite products or the Blockstream Jade, but I think especially if you're not tech savvy, you might want to take a look at this one. It's very interesting. And so I think I didn't really talk about multisig, but I think the BitKey by default is multisig. It's hard to know because of their proprietary and how they set it up, but it's not like a traditional multisig. You can do traditional multisig with the CoinKite products as well as the Jade, but you just need 3 devices. If you're going to do multisig, it's probably good to get 3 different devices from different manufacturers, so that if one manufacturer has some issue or hack, then it doesn't affect all of your multisig. But this is a new wallet that's coming out for multisig that you line up these 3 and click them into your phone, and then it automatically generates a multisig. I can't vouch for this product, but I just thought it was cool. I haven't heard anything good or bad about it yet, but I thought it was pretty novel on how it works. To give you an idea of multisigs, you've got your 3 devices here. Obviously, it's all one company, and so if the company has issues, then all of your devices are compromised. But just to give you an idea of how multisig might work, so you would put your Bitcoin on this multisig, and then you would need 2 of these 3 devices in order to sign transactions, and so you could distribute these 3 devices, physically in different locations. So in case your house burned down, you'd sell the other 2 to sign for it. But I'd say if we're going to do like a rating of the ones that I'm kind of suggesting, it would be for ease of use, everyday use, and for people who aren't tech savvy, probably the BitKey would take it. For flexibility, traditional features, security with a low price, I'd say the Blockstream Jade would probably be the go-to. And then for like highest reputation, most secure, bulletproof, probably the CoinKite would be the best ones to look at. And there's so many wallets that you can use, and it's ever expanding, but those are kind of be my 3 go-tos to look at the moment. So if you have experience, maybe you don't agree with me on some of these selections, or if you like some other ones, let me know. But that'll probably do it for today, guys. Adios, and hodl on. Wait, I knew I forgot something. I wanted to give a shout out to SeedSigner as well. This is an interesting hardware wallet where you can build it yourself using off-the-shelf components. So if you wanted to like be down low and not order an actual wallet, you could just order generic parts and build this yourself. And this is meant to not store your keys. It just is like a stateless thing where you can just scan and send a transaction, and then it only keeps that information in its working memory. And when you turn it off, it forgets it. And this is an interesting product because you can use the device to create QR codes and scan those in to sign. You can use it for multi-sig. There's a lot of different use cases with this device. It doesn't have a secure element, and it's been criticized pretty heavily by the creators of the CoinKite products, but it definitely is filling a niche gap here. And so if you're more tech savvy, you might be interested in this. And this project, I believe, has actually pushed a lot of the other companies to offer a stateless design where you can boot up like the Jade now, and I think the CoinKite products, and just have the seed in working memory, and so that it's not stored on the device. So if the device itself gets stolen, there's nothing to exfiltrate because it's not actually saving anything. It's just storing stuff in working memory while you use it. So this is a cool project, and might be something for you guys to look at as well as the other three that I mentioned.